No, I got
nothing. And we're live here on Dude, What's the Bid? Episode 32. Coming in here trying to round out 2024. And my name is Kevin Hill. I'm with Brush Pass Research. As always, Casey Larkin over at Fair Lanes is with me. How are you doing, Casey?
Doing well, Kev. Thanks for asking. Yeah, man, December 19th. Hard to believe it.
It is. It really is. 2024 is almost in the books. It seems like it just started.
It does.
I know.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
It really is. And we've done 32 episodes, right? And it still feels like the first one.
It does still feel a little awkward every time we hit the go live button, if I'm being completely honest with you.
It really does. It really does. 2024, it's been a strange year. A little bit crazy, a little bit normal, right? But,
True.
It's just like nothing really changed too much.
Right. For sure. Learned a lot. A little different year this year than prior years, at least from a freight market perspective. Good to see people getting excited about freight technology again.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, man, been a great year. I didn't read as many books this year as I would have liked to.
Oh, I certainly didn't. I think I might have read one, which is well below average.
What book did you read?
I couldn't even tell you, but I think I did read one on a Kindle. I know where I read it, I think it might have been like a John Grisham book or something. It was some light reading, right? But nothing really to, because I used to read 30, 40 books a year. And now, with the child and a business and it's tough to sit down and have time to read.
30 books a year.
Well, I take that back. I've read about 30 children's books. Does that count?
Those absolutely count. There are lessons
Okay.
and those things that, I think really go a long way. So it's got to be a good, I don't have any experience with it, but it's got to be good practice to go back and review those themes and
with golden rules and especially the potty books. Those are the best refreshers, right?
For sure. And bathroom humor is always funny.
It is. It is. It's funny for everybody. And we have a very special guest today, one of our old pals from Freightwaves, Nadeen Vawter. She's at CSM and just the general specialist on onboarding. And we're going to talk a little bit about Sonar and refresh and AI.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So let's bring Nadeen on right now.
Let's do that.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Happy
Good,
almost
good.
Friday. Happy almost Christmas. So many things.
I know. How's Christmas shopping going?
I think I'm almost there. I was actually just trying to wrap last night and I was missing half my packages. So I just stopped. I'm waiting for some to get delivered. That was very last minute. I have a Christmas present for my daughter from Santa that's supposed to get delivered on Christmas Eve. So I don't really have high hopes for that one. I just need to probably go to Walmart and get a substitute.
That is cutting it close.
Yes, because
That
our
really
mail
is.
isn't the best. So I don't have high hopes for that one, but we're getting there. Tis the season.
What are the hot gifts for girls this year? You guys both got little girls.
My daughter's getting a dollhouse. We're in the process of putting it together. It's a 4-foot by 3-foot dollhouse. So we got on Amazon and it came with 40 little, household, chairs and things. It's massive. She won't be able to reach the top floor probably till she's 7. It's huge. Didn't realize it was so big. Obviously I read the dimensions, but it's a lot bigger when you actually put it together. So that's what she's getting.
Get a dollhouse you can grow into.
Exactly. And I'm kind of cool with being able to play with it too. You know, I always wanted like a 4-foot
Yeah.
dollhouse when I was 2. So she's about to get the best gift ever, in my opinion. I'm jealous. I wish I could get that.
That's awesome.
It does sound good. It does sound good. We got a kitchen.
A kitchen.
kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, a kitchen.
We've got one of those. Those are good.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep. Those are good.
Yes. We're about to
So-
have to kick it to the curb, though. It's taking up too much space.
If it survives me assembling it,
Yeah.
it'll be great. I don't know if it will though.
Yes. The assembly is not the best. The dollhouse we've had to put together, take apart, put together, take apart, and then put back together. At least 3 parts of it. So, like, me and Gavin aren't the best team when it comes to reading directions with no words. It's just a picture. So, you know, we're getting there though.
Good. Let's talk about Sonar and the new features within that that's been announced over the last couple of weeks, I think. And maybe I saw an email today. I think it was the newsletter that was included in as well. And I took a peek at it, and you know, Casey and I are old users of Sonar as you're a current user as well. So what are the big changes that have been in store?
Yeah, so Sonar, of course, if anybody is familiar with Sonar, it has thousands of data sets, a lot of great information, but it requires a lot of hands-on CS and help to get some of the pages created. And it's more of an analyst tool. We wanted it to be more created now to be more on the floor operational tool. So we've created a couple of new insights pages as well as a coverage guide for our operational users to help them kind of make decisions without having to decipher what the data sets are showing or saying. Instead of knowing what a percentage means on a tender rejection, you know, what does that mean? I don't necessarily know. Now we're kind of giving them the answer. We have a lot of AI and learning, machine learning, I guess. I don't know. I'm not on the tech side, but all of those fancy things on the back end to drive the guidance that we're delivering to our users. And we're only going to continue to make this better. So anybody that is listening that may be a Sonar customer, please let us know. We'd love to know any feedback that you have. But we've kind of created 2 insights pages. One's national, that's going to talk about what's currently going on a national level. And then there is one that's on the market level where you can kind of figure out what's going on a specific market and decide how you want to kind of plan your day. So yeah, happy to continue to talk through those. I can show them if anybody wants me to.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something that's very useful, right? Very useful having those descriptive or prescriptive kind of snapshots, people telling you what the market is doing, right? Because while, you know, piecing it together yourself is sometimes difficult, you know, depending on who the user is. If you're an analyst, it's a little bit easier than if you're a carrier salesperson, right?
Right.
Or someone making really quick decisions and being able to put all that together. Certainly, if you're bouncing different data points off, and if you can consolidate that into a description, because you know, it's fast-paced environment on a brokerage floor. And it's hard to a lot of us have ADHD as well, so it's hard to keep a train of thought going.
Yep. I wish I had this when I was a broker. This would have been very useful. But we didn't have many technologies back then. MacroPoint was brand new when I was a broker. I remember when they put that out there, but that was like our big technology. So
I remember those days too. Those about the days I was there too, when MacroPoint first came out, and I forget how much it was. It was maybe $5 a load or something.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it was
pack it on.
Arguing with every carrier.
Yes.
You know, at the time. Now it's very normal, but at the time that was so abnormal. Nobody wanted me to track them.
No.
So. So yeah, these applications and insight pages are really just created for those pod leads or anybody on a dispatch floor, or really anybody on the operational side, not so much that analyst. Of course they can use it, but we've kind of geared it more so to them with that quick snapshot of what's going on. And you don't really have to decipher it. You don't have to figure out the correlations, and you don't have to do all of that. We kind of do it for you and have really made it the easy button. So we're super excited and proud of it.
Good. Let's see it, because for those of our viewers out there who aren't familiar with Sonar, you know, they're not in there on a daily basis. It's hard to picture what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, I've never shared on here, so let me see. I cannot see you guys anymore, but can you see my screen?
We can in just a second when I add it to the stage.
Okay.
There we go. Can you see everything now?
I cannot, but it's because I'm on my
Okay.
laptop, but it's okay. Okay, so yeah, this is the Truckload National Insights page. This is the landing page now when you log into Sonar. It's going to give you a great snapshot of currently what's going on with capacity. So we're tracking tender rejections to figure out where in the country, this is national, of course, but where in the country freight is being rejected the most. You can think about freight being rejected as a great leading indicator for the spot market when shippers have freight that is rejected, or if they're tendering out loads, normally they try to give a good lead time, but when those loads then get rejected, those loads then could end up on the spot market within a couple of days. So if you're able to watch rejections in a specific market increasing or decreasing, you can be more proactive and figure out what you may need to do in that market or on that lane, maybe a couple of days from now, or even day of, to get some insights. So the current rejection percentage is 8.8. That's extremely high. Over the last 18 months, it's been average at 4 to 5. So it is on an upward trajectory. You can kind of see some changes over here. And then we kind of walk through the demand to give you an indication of how much freight is shipping in the country. So this is on a national level. Again, you can kind of see the overall demand in the country. And then we give you some fuel information. The actionable insights and that kind of information is where we're using the AI. We're able to kind of give some guidance and general market conditions on what's going on without you having, again, to decipher what any of those numbers mean. We're telling you kind of in those sentences below. We're highlighting the top moving markets, kind of as far as volume to see how much volume is shipping in the country, as well as tender rejection rates. You can kind of see where they're changing. And then on the map below, you can kind of get some more details about rejections, spot market conditions, volume, spot versus contract rates. So this is all kind of on the national view. You can also look at a market level, though. So if you were curious on a high changing market, let's see. Any of these excite you guys? You want to look at Miami, Evansville?
Let's do Evansville.
Evansville. Oops, I clicked on Twin Falls. Sorry, that's my fault.
That's okay.
We will go with Twin Falls. So this will take you over to our key market insights page. Again, here's some more wordage around what's going on in that market. So there is limited truck availability and some outbound lanes have increasing rates. You can see how the market is currently. So the current market's very tight, not a lot of trucks available there, and it's still tightening. It's becoming even more difficult to secure capacity. So this is a market where rates are probably increasing. You can see below on the chart kind of that market compared to the national average. The national average is kind of going to be your baseline. So anytime you see a market that has a projection above that, you're going to know that that's a tighter market. And then we give you some more indications around volume and how much freight is coming inbound and outbound of that market specifically. So you can use this one a lot of different ways, but the main use case could be day of spot quoting or prioritizing your freight day of. And also just deciphering a new market that you may not be familiar with and seeing how it's currently trending. So yeah, those are the two insights pages. Any questions about any of that?
I have so many. This is cool.
Shoot them up.
This is if you're looking at this market specifically, it seems to me, reminds me a lot of trading platforms like a Robinhood or a Webull. I guess I think back to my time at FreightWaves. Kevin, I don't know, were you a member of the 10,000X Slack channel?
I think I was for a little bit. Talk about
for everybody,
social media and everything. Slack, that channel was outrageous.
Yeah. It wasn't for everybody, but
I wasn't invited, so I guess I wasn't cool.
Sorry, Nadeen.
It's okay. Yeah. Whatever.
It was one of the cool clubs, one of the few cool clubs that you weren't invited to. We usually started most of them. Anyway, so it's like a bunch of just sales guys generally, some of the analysts who, fell in love with the stock market when COVID hit. Everybody was locked from home. If you were doing anything on social, you kind of started to see people talking about AMC, GameStop, and it kind of led to a lot of people, we're at a company called Freight Waves, right? People just speculating on different equities, stocks, things like that.
A lot of options.
Time in doing, technical analysis on charts that they were totally unqualified to do, trying to get people to buy into, whatever meme stock that, they were on that day, or cryptocurrency, whatever it may be. But this reminds me here of one, like the key indicators you see in the stock market, relative strength index, right? RSI. So, being able to understand where a market is relative to a national average is on a chart in the course of time. It's a little bit different than I think what most other folks are doing. So that's cool, right?
I wish I knew more about the stock market and what you're talking about, but I surely don't. It's not my forte.
And from what I remember of Twin Falls, Idaho, it is very much potato. Very much potato season.
Yes.
It's not a huge market, so any kind of surge and any
like Detroit.
Yeah, let's go to Detroit.
Detroit's volume is actually decreasing. Their tender rejection is only at 3.8, so well below the national average. So very, very loose market.
And I would imagine that going into the holiday season, maybe the auto supplies coming in for manufacturing is kind of trailing off for the year, and that's
probably honestly, I haven't looked into that, but that could definitely be an indicator.
And I'm just making up things on the spot, right? Wild speculation, like the Slack channel, right? Why things might be going up or going down.
Yes, we could always speculate about that.
Yeah. Can we check out Chicago? Yeah.
Chicago is pretty boring, I believe, right now. And it's increasing, but it's we all kind of knew that. Nobody wants to leave Chicago. Their drivers are most likely from there. So their tender rejections are increasing. And that strong tightening just means they're continuing to increase. You can see over here on the volume, it's number 13 out of 135 markets that we have. So it's heavier on the outbound freight than inbound. So it's only number 23. So actually the market that's interesting this week is Atlanta. It's a lot more crazy. Just seeing a double digits WRI data set is pretty much like the most, it's just kind of off the charts. It's not a normal occurrence to see that high of a WRI. So Atlanta, you can see their tender rejection in the blue. It's actually off the chart, I think. Let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, it's off the chart.
It is off the chart.
It is off the chart because it's at 8.82. So it's similar. It's actually exactly the same as the national, which is insane. But you can see how rapidly it increased, from the 12.7, so about 14 days ago to now. It doubled. So extremely.
When was the last peak? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Back here.
This
I can't see the dates.
So. Oh, sorry. I need to scroll down. Yeah, you're sorry. I'm sorry. There we go. About June, July.
Of this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
June, July was the last time it got that
What's
high.
that value on the last peak? It seems like we may be getting...
Yeah, I can't even see if I can click it to come down here again. It's actually at that peak. You can see that green line going across. That's the current value. So they are, it might not even have gotten to that peak, honestly, with the way that let's see. Yeah,
like an inflection
810. Yep, 810, 8.10 was the highest then. So we're above that over the last year. So we've reached a record. We're breaking records here. That's what we like to see.
And the white line's OTRI. The blue line is that volume?
The blue line is Atlanta. OTRI Atlanta, just outbound tender rejection index for Atlanta. So the current rejection percentage. So 8.8% of loads are being rejected outbound of Atlanta. And then the white line is the national level. So they're
okay.
That's why they're over each other. They have the same value.
It's our relative strength index, Kev.
I know, right?
How could you forget?
I don't know. I thought so. I just want to make sure, make sure that I'm reading everything right. And I might know this. I might know this answer, but I'm asking for the audience, right?
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
asking for the audience. WRI.
Yes.
What does WRI
Yep.
represent?
So
Just for the audience.
Index as well, Nadine. If I could
the
add
what?
Carter.
Say it
And the
again.
rejection as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this one over here, the tender rejection. This is a pure percentage of freight being rejected with an origin of Atlanta, Georgia, or Atlanta market. So the Atlanta market, not just Atlanta, Georgia. So 8.82% of loads. So 82 or 92% of freight is being accepted outbound of Atlanta right now. Over the last year, you can see though Atlanta has trended well below that 8%. Probably I'd say the average was around 4. So it's double its average right now. So it's double tight, I guess you could say. It's very extremely tight. And then that kind of takes me into the WRI, which is a variation of the OTRI data set. It is the weighted rejection index. And they take the change of the weekly change for the rejection percentage, as well as their change in outbound tender market share. So that's another data set that we have that will give you, it's very similar to this ranking right here. So number 2 for volume coming outbound, or Atlanta is number 2 for outbound freight right now out of 135 markets, number 1 for inbound. But that's kind of that outbound tender market share value data set that we have is driving that number. So we kind of take that, we take the changes, add them together. So they both could have had 5%, or that one could have had 7, one could have had, but it equaled 10. That's where we get that value.
All right. And just put everything in perspective for the audience. We're talking about 8% right now. I think for the last couple of years, the natural average on tender rejections, which every 100 tenders, how many are rejected, has been 3%, 4%.
Yeah, 3 to 4, I'd say would have been the average over the last 2 years.
2019, it was maybe 5%. Dipping below 5% was big news. And then you go into the pandemic years of after the big crash in April of 2020, into the rest of 2021, where it climbed up, 2021, where it was just hyperbolic, right? You're talking about over 20% for most markets, if not more. Yeah. And if you talk about refrigerated freight, it could be, over 50% sometimes. So, once you see it over time, and then, as I said, was it April of 2022?
Yeah, it was March of 2022, right when it started to go down. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've been, 2 or 3 rejections out of every 100 loads tendered, which is a very loose capacity. And just to see any, and really hardly any seasonality that you expect to see, you just didn't see it. So I think, well, it is encouraging to see seasonality patterns start to appear again.
Right.
Yeah,
July was a nice little pop there. 4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July, but not a lot of markets did that. Major metros did, but not a lot of them. A lot of skeptics may be saying that this increase could be just from the holidays, but we've had a holiday season the last 2 years, and freight percentage didn't change. The rejection percentage didn't change. So this is definitely different than we've experienced in the past, and it's definitely exciting to see some volatility happening in the marketplace again. Depending on who you are, you may not like that, but volatility is what drives this market to change.
It is. I'm a big fan of volatility.
Me too.
Yeah. We're brokers, though. So,
yeah.
We love volatility. Let's go out to the West Coast. Let's go out to LAX. We're talking about tariffs. We're talking about pull forward. I think Flexport, Ryan Peterson was on with the truck. Was it yesterday or sometime? Talking about bookings being up 30%. I saw that somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. For ocean bookings, right?
Yeah.
Is that right, Casey? Do I have my numbers?
I think that sounds about right. I was going to say, I think I heard him on podcast say that they're just about to turn that thing profitable again.
Yeah. Very good.
Impressive.
That is very good. So here we're looking at outbound tender rejections out of LAX.
Yes. Los Angeles market.
Los Angeles.
7% tender rejection. So it's a looser market. The national rejection's at that 8.8. So it's below the national average, but it's continued to increase. You can obviously see that on the chart, but you can see that on the numbers right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is increasing with the WRI, probably due to, it's not due to volume. So it's got to be due to the change. It is. Yeah. So the WRI indication is coming from the change of the rejection percentage. So it's just continuing to tighten. Again, that's another market where not a lot of drivers want to leave. If they are there, they're most likely from there. So that's another one that should be continuing to tick up.
Can we look at about this time last year, 2023? Can we scroll back and see?
Yeah, let me see if I can. I think this should let me. Let's see.
I remember when there was just 2 years of data, right?
I know,
Not even 2 years, right?
I know.
And now you actually do have to go back.
Yeah, when I started in 2018, we only had data till January. We didn't even have a full year. Now we can do up to 6 years of history. Yeah. But yeah, this is a 5-year view. So 2023, you can see started kind of relatively low.
Yeah.
And just continued to increase. Same with 2024. It started low, it continued to increase. So, I mean, both years are better than 2022. 2022 only continued to go down. But you can see the COVID craziness right there for anybody who hasn't seen our data with like the history or anything. Yeah. The blue line is the blue line is LAX. So Los Angeles rejections. And then the white line is national. So you can see they got well above 25% during the prime time of 2021. So a lot of capacity entered during that time, stimulus checks, people were buying things online. So everybody was rich, baby.
Like crazy. If we go look at December, just any date in December of 2023 on the blue line, right? LAX. Yeah. Let's just get a quick reading of what it was like in December.
Here we go. Here is December. Let's see, December 17th. LA was 4.79 and the national was 5.37. So double almost ish, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big change.
It is.
So it's exciting.
So what's on the, so as we roll out these enhancements on Sonar, kind of integrating AI into whether it's descriptive or prescriptive, right? Of what you're looking at and kind of getting a snapshot, being able to make quicker decisions. What else is on the roadmap for, or what else can we go through and see that you want to show us?
Yeah, so this we just recently released last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. This is our coverage guide, and this is another place we're kind of utilizing AI. You can upload a file in here of your day of freight, if you need to prioritize your day of freight, anything like that from your kind of board. You can upload it in here, and it's going to prioritize what you should do, which loads you should book first, and also give you some coverage information. So over here, this is all the information that you would put in there. Of course, lanes, equipment type, all of that. And then you can see the track spot rate. So our track consortium of broker customers, those are those spot rates that we're producing. So you can see the current high and low with some week over week changes. Confidence score. If you're a part of that consortium, we'll give you a My Track rate back. So it's your recommended bid rate for your history based on what we are also seeing in the track spot market conditions and the rates that we see from other contributors. We'll provide you a rate back to show you what your purchasing power would be there. You can see the current rejection percentage, but then over here is kind of where you see newer information that you're probably not familiar with if you've seen Sonar. We don't normally have these types of, wordings and things. So this is where we're adding the new information. So the condition is very similar to what we just saw, but it's tightening, or it's currently tight and it's tightening, or it's neutral. But over here is the guidance. So you can see cover now, prepare to lock in losers, stay the course, prepare for fall offs, qualified trucks. If a market is tightening, we're kind of telling you, of course, if it's tightening, that driver could then get called and take a better load if they're gonna get paid more or anything like that. So qualify those trucks the best. So we're kind of giving some information for that floor broker or that CSR or that dispatcher, whatever the case may be, but definitely more for that operational role. So we're really excited about this one, and we're just going to continue to iterate on these types of pages. We have kind of a sales guide coming out that's going to give you information about where in the country you're going to have the best option if you're at a cradle to grave broker, or if you are just a sales guy at a brokerage office. It's going to give you information on where volumes are changing, where you should call, and if you are calling, what you should say, what you should lead with, if you should lead with service, or if you should lead with low rates, whatever advice we kind of have, we're moving in that direction, and that should come out hopefully within Q1. I wouldn't say it wouldn't be. So that should be out, shortly. And we're really excited about that one too.
Yeah. So it's basically giving an outline of what to lead with when you're talking to I guess both customers, right? And probably something mainly for carriers as well.
Yeah. Carriers could definitely use it. Definitely. Anybody in that logistics provider space.
So depending on what the market's doing, what you should be leading with.
What are their pain points? Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and this is really useful as someone who's used Sonar quite a bit in their life, and basically not having to piece it together yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Not do the analysis yourself, because this would be a few steps for me every day to be able to pull charts in and kind of evaluate that. Having AI or machine learning, whatever it is, that automation to be able to do that for you to get to the answers much more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited. I'm going to stop sharing my screen if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you guys hear all of the ambulances?
Of course, I missed those. It's been so long since I've been in that conference room and had to stop for all the ambulances and sirens to go by.
Yes. Right down this road. They love to just honk that horn right in front of our building.
They do. Now, is Sonar, are you guys still located on Market Street, or did you guys move
we
over?
are. I'm in the Freight Alley old building still. I guess you could call it old. It's old for me because I have nostalgia, but I love it. But we're moving to the Liberty Tower in January. Our first meeting back, I guess, will be the second or something. But yep, we're moving over to the Liberty Tower to have more room, more space to sit instead of sitting in a bar, more like desk space. So I'm nostalgic, so I love this building. So I'll be a little bit sad, but I've worked over there a couple of days and it's really, really nice. So there's nothing to complain about. It's super nice. Very great view. It had a better view behind me than this picture. Very pretty.
That picture is a great picture, though. Yes,
it is.
It's an airplane.
It is, with freight waves.
Airplane with freight waves. Yeah. You see that every day. So those are the major changes with Sonar. And we talked about the roadmap a little bit. You explained it. Let's go over that a little bit more about kind of how maybe the process of integrating AI into everything, kind of what you've learned and kind of your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
on AI in general.
Really. Yeah, AI in general. ChatGPT is my bestie. She's really learned me. I just use her for emails. Like I'll type an email, put it in there and say, just make this better, because I'm not the most wordsmith person. And she's able to, I call her she, I don't even know, but she's able to make it sound just like me. My friend loves it for recipes. I mean, it's wild the things that you can do with it. But internally, obviously I'm not on the dev or engineering team, so I don't know exactly what they're doing and how they're creating it. But a lot of it is the brainchild of Zach. Yeah, Zach has given them all of the verbiage and all of that to make sure that the right change is associated with the right words and all of that. I know that they're working on hopefully like something like a ChatGPT in Sonar, so you can ask it questions. But I don't know where they're at with that. So hopefully that will be in 2025 sometime, because I would love to just be like, hey, what's Atlanta doing today? And it's going to tell me that we need to do this because of this. And next week it could do this. Yes. So
exactly. It's almost like you don't have to, I I don't want to say you don't even have to log in, but you don't really have to dig into anything at that point, right?
Right.
It's just like,
Right.
this is my
Yes.
question, just give me the answer.
Yes.
And there's the answer displayed right there on
Yes.
it. I think search wise, it's awesome. Chat GPT is, I use it all the time too. I think now it might be used more in search than your traditional search engines like Google. And,
really? I've never even thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of search. I mean, I do what I'd have to search and then kind of research and copy and paste into something else. It'll just do all of it for me, you know. You just ask it the right question.
Yeah, the prompts. Yeah.
The prompts, right?
Yeah, the prompts. I was actually talking to my neighbor about that last night. I was like, are they going to have courses for ChatGPT in college to teach you how to get the right prompts? And, you know, or we have like Salesforce admins at companies. Is there going to be like a ChatGPT admin or like somebody who's like the pro at ChatGPT in your company, and that's going to be on your resume? I'm like, I wonder if that's going to be the next 10 years or 5 years, what's going to be the new normal. Huh?
It already is. You got to get Walter into prompt engineering.
I know. Nobody's a doctor anymore, or you know, a vet. Everybody's going to be like engineers or code writers or.
I think, you know, it's
robots.
funny. A lot of the really smart AI people I've spoken to this year at conferences or met like through this show are saying, you know, school is no longer going to be as much about like the information that you can gather and pack into your brain, right? It's going to be like, you know, how do you think, not necessarily as much like what to think. So, you know, figuring out how to ask the right questions and, you know, use the technology to get the information, use it most efficiently is something that people are really excited about that know the technology. So I think it's really exciting for people, right? Like you're not going to have to like learn the ones and zeros, right? You can just like use your unique ability as a human being to like make the most out of all this information without all the, you know,
there are general skills
and things like that.
They got to teach general skills though. I don't know. My son starts kindergarten next year, and that's kind of scary. I don't want him to learn just ChatGPT when he's in the second grade. He needs to learn the quadratic theorem or whatever.
Oh, no. You got me all excited, Nadeen. Like now what it enables kids to do, right? Like now we can go back to a curriculum like reading, writing, and like basic arithmetic.
They're not going to take those classes, or they are going to take those classes?
Well, like if you get so concentrated into, you know, a technical track or something like that, you don't have as much time to zoom out and, you know, I don't know.
I think you can almost lead with, you know, asking, you know, like complicated physics questions and then reverse engineering what AI is doing just to learn the process or something. I'm still looking for a new SUV, right? And I just wondered, well, you know what? I need cargo space. You know, what's the price per square foot or cubic foot of cargo space? And how do they all rank? And it was a simple, like 3 sentences. You know, give me the MSRP and cubic feet of cargo space and of all the mid-sized SUVs or whatever, right? It came out, and all I had to do was download the spreadsheet. It done all that work for me.
Wow.
And I was just like, it's kind of cool.
You have the paid version of ChatGPT?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't get a spreadsheet option. Like, how do I get that?
Yeah, I mean, it's only $20 a month. And it was like, okay, well, I'll do it. I'll write it off.
Yeah.
You know, it's much easier to buy things when you just write it off.
Yeah, it's much easier. I mean, that would be nice. You need to start a business.
And you know, I'm doing AI voice calls now, right? And I know some of the players, and I've seen the demos, and that's impressive too.
Yes, I have seen a lot of those, especially at F3. There was a lot of that there, and putting them on the phone with each other, and they were still able to communicate, and there was no issue there. Just so crazy. But I'm such a control freak. I don't want to get some weird call to my desk that some robot just negotiated with this driver or whatever, and now I have to deal with him. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't like that personally because I'm a control freak. But
But
each their own.
each their own,
Yeah.
But it's strange how, I mean, it's just ramped up. And I grew up before the internet, so
I think I technically did too.
yeah. So you remember when the internet, the web came out?
Yes,
It just
yes.
completely very quickly.
Yes.
Within a matter of 5 or 10 years, completely revamped life. It was
Yeah.
weird. I remember I was in college and I got an email address. Everybody gets an email address in college. They're just now rolling that out. And I just remember saying, this is really cool. I don't know how I'm ever going to use it, but it's really cool. And
Yeah.
within 2 or 3 years, it was standard.
That's like Facebook. You couldn't get a Facebook unless you had an EDU email address at the beginning, because that was the point of it. And then everybody just kind of faked it. And I don't even remember. I guess I couldn't get mine until I went to college. But now it's completely different. Obviously, that took a whole nother avenue. But yeah, technology has definitely changed and transformed a lot over the last 20 years, I guess, even 5 years.
Yeah, 30 years. And you go back to the iPhone and smartphones and just the explosion that was. And I think AI is going to be the same thing. It's going to be an explosion. It's kind of scary.
Yes, it is.
Very scary, actually. But
you can't trust. You don't know who's calling you, if it's a real person or not. There needs to be some way to have a code word or something that I can ask it.
There should be, yeah. There should be, and you can kind of tell that it's AI, right? There's still, you don't have that emotions and those inflections and the voice, but I think in a couple of years you're going to have that, and then it's really going to be tough to discern who's an AI and who's not. I've listened to a few podcasts that are just AI voices, and actually those sound really good.
Wow,
it's really strange.
Or a book on tape or whatever. I guess they're not called book on tape anymore, but audiobooks. Audiobooks, I guess, are probably AI people at this point.
You think so? Because you can clone a voice, right?
Yeah.
If you can clone a voice and that there's just clone the voice and you can generate it in a matter of minutes.
As long as we don't have that scary movie, isn't it called AI, Artificial Intelligence, with the little kid? It's a robot.
Was it Megan?
Yeah, Megan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a scary movie. So I hope that never ever happens.
It is, that's the scary part of it. You have Megan, you have Skynet, you have all these things, that. And there's this paradox that has come out that it's a really strange paradox. It's like anyone who I can't even explain it, so I'm not even going to get into it. But it's a really weird paradox.
What's it called?
I can't even think of it. It's just the AI paradox of AI is going to eventually control the world. So if you ever say anything negative, it's going to have a record of it, and it's going to punish you.
It's like Black Mirror.
Yeah.
There's a weird Black Mirror episode where you could have some chip in your brain that would let you remember every memory you ever had in your entire life, and you could go and restore it anytime and watch it or whatever. And this guy cheated on his wife or something, and she made him show the memory to her, and it was really weird. And he pulled the chip out. It was so gross. Of course, it's Black Mirror, but that everyone watching that, I'm like, God, that's so scary. I don't want that to be my future or my kid's future. We don't need to get there. We just need to be normal.
No. And then you have people talking about the singularity, right? Which is kind of what everyone's scared of. Is where there is no difference. And I don't know.
I don't want to live in that world.
I don't either.
So hopefully we do not create a scary AI version. We will create a very nice AI version that will allow people to ask great questions and get easy insights. Hopefully that would be something we could integrate into customers, TMS or emails or something, or somewhere without them having to log in. That way they could just ask questions anytime. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't think we're too far away from even voice. Hey, Sonar, give me the rates out of this. Give me the market conditions. This is what I'm doing, and then it just shows up. You don't even have to type anything. It shows up like that. So
that would be great.
couple steps above that is where it's really scary.
Right. Unless we just did the job for them, then that would be the easiest. But I'm not going to do that. So yeah, we got to make it, really the goal is to just make it as easy for our users as possible without having to decipher too much. The old sonar is still going to be there. So any analyst who still wants to dive into the other data, we have thousands of data points around everything other than truckload. We got maritime, air, truckload, rail intermodal rates, everything really you could think of. So
there's an upgrade to intermodal, right?
Yeah, we got some intermodal contract rates. We got some intermodal contract rates in November. So we have the top 63 highest volume lanes in the country, intermodal contract rates on I think they're weekly basis. So those are brand new. Very excited about those. We're always trying to improve, obviously, on our data sets. So always trying to add new things over time and figure out where we can improve and add more density and stuff like that.
Nice. Well, Nadeen, it's been a pleasure. Talking to you. How does our audience reach out, learn more about Sonar, contact you guys, and get set up on demos and subscriptions?
Yep. If you are interested in learning more about Sonar, you can go to gosonar.com, and there's a lot of information on there. We have a blog that has a lot of great information written by our market experts. If you want to learn more about our data sets and ways that you could use them, you could also request a demo on there. You could send me a LinkedIn message if you just want to go the easy route. Or you could, if you are a Sonar customer, you can just reach out to your CS rep or me. Happy to help. But we're really excited about our future and where we're going, and would love to kind of continue the momentum. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. And have a great holiday.
Thanks. You
Christmas,
too.
New Year.
Yes.
And here's hoping to 2025 is a much better year than 2024 or 2023 or 2022 in the freight market.
Yes. 2025 will be our bounce back year.
Yes. I agree. I think we're going to bounce back, and hopefully the economy gets roaring again, and they'll really bounce back.
Exactly.
Really. So I would love to see 25% rejection rates again.
I think a lot of people would, except for shippers. Everybody but shippers.
Well, true. But they made a lot of money during those 25%.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you're very right.
I know, right?
Everybody
so
did.
The higher the rejection rates, right, the more you're selling, the better you're doing. Even if your transportation costs go up a little bit, you're still having a banner year.
Exactly. Right? The other side is making up for your transportation costs 100%.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. You get to 2-3%. That means the economy's not doing as well as you'd hope. There's a lot of loose capacity out there, and there's not as much profits for everybody. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, that is extremely true.
Cool. Well, Nadeen, again, thanks, and always great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
So, Gavin, I set it up. And
okay.
Merry Christmas. Thanks.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So, Casey, what do you think?
25% rejection rates. Last time we had a peak in the market, we had 25% rejection rates. You're telling me, I think every time the market booms and busts, it gets bigger and bigger. Do we make higher highs? Do we see 27, 28, 30% tender rejections before the market cools down? If, in fact, we're back in a bull market.
27, 28, 29%?
Just higher than whatever it was last time. I think you look back previous, there were data on it, right? I think what I'm thinking back to is that report that they did from the Stevens investment banking guys at the TIA conference, where they're the peaks and valleys typically are symmetrical, and they get longer, and the highs have been getting higher, the lows have been getting lower. So I think it's like 3 or 4 cycles in a row where it's been true, where the highs have been higher than the previous high in the last full part of that cycle. So I don't know, I guess logic would tell you maybe it could be even crazier this time around. More than likely.
It could be, right? So yeah, that's interesting because it's very symmetrical, right? If you had 18 months of a good market, you're going to have 18 months of a bad market. And historically, that's pretty true. I think with the talk about volatility again, right? With the rapid rise of what happened during the pandemic, and you know, it was lengthy. It was lengthy enough, right? It was 18 months or so, 18, 20 months of that cycle. I think the severity of it, you know, on the upside, meant that there was just too much overcapacity. It was a bull run of a lifetime, really, and it's going to take longer to clean up than the cycle. So, I mean, if that makes sense, I don't know.
I do understand what you're saying, and I get it. Right, there are a lot of trucks on the road that banks wrote loans on for $200,000, right?
Used trucks.
Yeah, and it's paid for with like government loans.
Mm-hmm.
Those trucks aren't worth that anymore. They don't want to repo those trucks. There's nowhere to sell them, right? You don't want to write that off if you're the bank. Like, do you just not take your truck back, leave the capacity in the market, and make that guy try to pay the crazy payment on his $200,000 truck that's now worth, I don't know, half that?
50,000.
Yeah, quarter of that. So I do hear that, but
it's tough.
Just a thought.
Tough. You just had this artificial demand a few years ago that was just so quick and just so robust that it drew in way too many. You know, with the low barrier of entry into trucking and freight brokerage, it just drew in way too many people, and people can break even, that they can eke out a living for longer than you think before they throw in the towel, right? Before the market turns. So we'll see.
We'll
see. We have some volatility, as we saw in Sonar, right? There's some volatility in the markets right now. Seasonal pattern is in full effect, and we'll see how it goes in the first quarter. I would say not necessarily January itself, but the first quarter. But yeah, I think we've come up off the floor.
We've done it. Sprung the trap. We're in the clear. But that's all I got, Kev.
Same here. That's all I got too. So next week is the day after Christmas. We won't have a show, but we will have a show on January 2nd, Thursday. I think a little bit earlier, noon Central, 1 Eastern, and I think we'll have. Is it Blake that is on the 2nd, or do I have that swapped? What do we have on the 2nd?
Well, I think Jeff's the 9th.
Jeff's we have Bodacious. Okay, yeah, we have Bodacious Cowboy on the 9th, Jeff Dickinson, and we have Blake Lappin from No Dwell on the 2nd. So we're going to talk about trailer pools and all that good stuff on the 2nd.
It's a great name.
It is. So with that, I guess Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Catch you on the flip side.
On the flip side. Have a great December.
You too.